We must change now. 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 Tones in our speeches are extremely important. It's the reaction that we will get from our audience, and it also depends on the type of audience we're speaking in front of. Environments play a critical role when giving a speech. Per chapter 5, it discusses adjusting your speech based on your audience, and I believe that to be true. Because if I was doing a political campaign and discussing changes of the country that we face, I wouldn't go into that campaign, that speech, saying we must change now. I would go in with a more assertive tone, more sense of urgency, to let the audience know that this is something that I care about. It's near and dear to my heart. Like if I were to get in office, this is one of my top priorities. So I would go in with, we must change now, and put more emphasis on it. And that's because the way our audience is going to perceive, our audience perceives this based on the type of tones that we're giving off. So today, when I discussing this topic, I thought of my two stepdaughters and talking to them in different tones. Same situation, different tones. For instance, I could go and tell them to clean up their room. And I say, clean up your room now. Well, 20 minutes later, there's no room clean. So then I'll come back and I'll say, clean your room now. Now there's a sense of urgency. So they flee off to their room and go clean their room. All right, and that just brings back to why our tones are so important and why the audience we are in front of is so important. Children, compared to obviously an auditorium or having a campaign, is completely different. But even still, the comparison of tones, and they knew once the first time that there was no sense of urgency. They just knew that they needed to clean their room. The second time, they realized that the tone changed and that they needed to clean their room immediately, which is why that's why we have to cater to our audience and in the environment that we're in, to make sure that we're giving out the correct dialect for our speech.